first notifications.
Nice.
And then I watch the videos, or it'll have like a meme that says something positive and uplifting.
And that sets the tone for you
right,
for the day.
Right. So is there other things that people could do? Like, are there any other ideas that you have with that kind of thing too?
Well, I want to talk about what you said when you kept reading your Facebook posts from the memories, right? And you saw that it was the same thing and you weren't changing, right? Because so many of us, we live on the corner of complacent and stagnant.
Yes.
And so I commend you for realizing that you are not growing. You're staying the same, and then you made a change. And so a lot of the motivational videos and things like that, that's great. I love that. I listen to it all the time. I've actually replaced music in the car with podcasts, audiobooks, things like that. I think it's always one way to stay motivated is to keep learning and to keep, always keep moving forward. And I do want to mention to some of your listeners as well that if they're not familiar with what a life coach is, it's not therapy. So therapy or counseling is about therapy. Coaching is about thriving. When you get a coach, it's somebody to help you to keep moving forward. So it's not where we're going to talk about your past and work through some feelings or emotions. We will work through self-limiting beliefs and all the falsities that I had mentioned before, but it's so much more than that. It's when, like Natalie, you said perfectly, that you realized you weren't moving forward and you wanted to change. And then you started with the motivational videos and the workshops and everything that you went to. All of that's wonderful. And I really would love for your listeners to at least try to factor that in or incorporate that into their life. But when you get a coach, that's the consistent piece, and that's the accountability piece. Because you can go to a motivational seminar or listen to the videos and you're motivated, you're ready.
Oh, yes.
But then the day starts.
Oh, yes.
And then the husband or the kids or the wife or the dog, start. And then you just totally lose your focus. So that's where the difference comes in.
It takes purposeful action, though, to do all this. Like, you have to really think about what you want to do and what you want to change. And then you got to make a plan and stick with it.
You have to be committed.
Yeah, you can't.
Well, that's part of meeting with your coach, right? Like, how does that work if somebody were to come to you? How does that work?
As far as
some of the things that, like, just high level, like, that you would cover, or what would a session kind of go? Just so someone would make, because you're like, well, I don't know, how's that? But just so they can get a little idea of how the experience might be.
So, thank you for asking that question. So what I offer is a free 20-minute discovery call. And so what that means, if you're thinking that maybe coaching could be right for you, or maybe you just want to explore and see, you jump on a call with me. And what we do is we talk about your goals. We talk about what is it that you want, or what do you feel is missing? There's two types of people in this world. There are people who are running towards something and people who are running away from something. So
sounds like a sermon.
There's no one that's standing still. Can we just be standing still? Because like, if you're not that person going forward, you're like, oh damn, that means I'm going away. Like, really?
Oh yes.
Well, no, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of people who are standing still. But if you're interested in finding a coach and you're actually you're curious about it, you're typically either running toward or away from something. Like, I don't want to fail or I want to succeed. Okay. So it kind of goes either or. And then I really just want to understand what is it that they want to accomplish, because a coach is like a gym membership. You're going to get in what you put out.
I need to get a coach. Damn.
Oh yeah, I've been wanting to get one. I just been waiting.
I think I'm going to do that.
I'm saving all my money for our trip, but after my trip, I said I was going to get me a coach.
Hello. I wonder where you could find one.
I might. I'm so sorry. I might do that after we get back from our Europe trip. I think I need a little bit more focus in this point in my life moving forward. Just a little bit more focus. I tend to, my brain goes a million. It's really hard for me to concentrate on doing something, no matter what it is. I have to really work, no matter what it is, studying, you name it, I have to work extra hard. It doesn't come natural for me to do those things.
So one of the things that I would ask you as a coach is, what's your big why?
Why what?
Why are you doing any of the things that you're doing?
Damn. That's a good question.
And then we start to think in outcomes.
Why are you laughing at me? Stop laughing, Natalie.
I'm sorry. Hold that thought. I'm going to say this.
Nope.
When it talks about the why.
Don't say it.
So over 10 years ago, Ian said.
Why do you have to go back in the past,
Ian
man?
said, it's because it's also our present.
Oh, God.
Over 10 years ago,
Ian, bring up old crap.
Ian was called, because I said, when I say decided, he gets very upset and offended. He was called, he felt that he was called into the ministry.
Okay.
And I wish back then I had asked that why more to him, because it's not that none of it's a bad thing, and not that you
can't answer the why call when you first get called. That's part of the call process.
I'm just saying though, it's like, because you were like, I want to do this. And I was like, okay, are you sure about this?
Well,
it's not what,
I don't think this applies to this. It's a little different for that. I mean, it is. It's a lot more levels involved.
I know, but I just don't know. I just feel like that. I think if you had maybe had a deeper why within you, to start, like if you had really, I don't think you introspected. I think you just kind of said,
you can't introspect the call.
You were just kind of like, I'm doing this. And I was like, well,
I'm telling you, I can't explain it, but you can't introspect the call to do ministry. It's very hard to explain. You can't introspect it at the time. That's why if you talk to anybody in ministry, all of us have the same similar stories. We all come from different backgrounds, but we all have the same call. And when we sit down and talk about it, we're like, dang, you did it too? Yeah. And then we always wonder, how did we end up here?
It's 10 years later. Ian's still in school 10 years later. But
still in school. Almost done.
He's doing it cash. We don't want to have any debt. So
no debt. Cash part-time.
Yes. So
that's
fine.
I'm almost done though.
Yeah, but that's good. Can you awesome. go back to your why, please? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's deep.
I just thought about that though with your seminary.
Messed me up, man.
Sorry. Yeah, so back to the why.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So back to that. So anytime we're doing something, I don't know if you guys have ever encountered this, but you're motivated, you're excited, and then you lose speed, you lose momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe in a couple more months, then you're like, oh yeah, I remember that old goal. Let me dust the cobwebs off and start that again. And then again,
this podcast,
we lose speed. Right. So then when we think about what is the big why, and you like your why, then that is when you will stay committed, and that's when you'll stay motivated.
Interesting. I wonder if that would work for Noah.
Well, I do that I think with my job, I do that. Like, because I'm like, why? Because I'm helping customers. They need this service. If I don't get this service, that's what keeps me pushing at my job to do that. Because some people are like, oh, it's just a phone. But I'm like, people need service. People need internet, kind of thing. So I think that's why I've always kept me moving. I never thought about that, but yeah, that's my
So
why.
You've been doing it, but you just don't know you've been doing it.
Well, I've always said because people need service. That's why I do it.
Oh.
But I never consciously was like, that's my why. I never had that.
Who wakes up? Hey, what's my why?
You should put it on your board. That's my why.
That's my why. And I do. I actually tell my clients
really?
to put a sticky, note, put it somewhere that you can see it, and you put what your why is. And to Natalie's point, you think in outcomes. Try doing that instead of, this is a daunting task. I don't feel like doing this. Why are you doing it? Think of the outcome, and that will help you to finish it and complete it.
See, like doing your project management that you don't like. So you have to try to find that why that's what I was trying to explain to you the other day.
It's fear.
It's fear.
That's what it is. I mean, that's what it always is. Every decision I make
appearing real.
But I overcome my fear. I don't let the fear stop me ever from moving forward. So I'll take a fear, think about it. I'm like, and then I'll just keep going. Like
That's great.
I don't sit on it.
You've been going complaining. That's what you've been doing.
I'm not complaining.
It's like that long car ride where it's like, oh, we ever going on this great, beautiful car ride, and the whole time the person's in the car bitching and that's you.
Sounds like fun.
That's him in his current status because he's doing project management at work, and he doesn't like. I'm an engineer. I'm not a project manager.
Well, it's not that I don't like it. I'm just, it's fear. That's what it really comes down to, is this fear of the unknown. And I know I can do it. I can do anything I really want to do. It's not a matter of fact, but I've always been this way from a little boy.
Right.
That's why I've had trouble in school, my schoolwork, my test. I think about the worst before it even happens. You kind of set yourself up, and I've had to force myself to not think that way, because if you think that way, the result comes. So I've had to work extra hard when these little fears come to just say, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to stop doing this until I succeed. That's what I like. I have to overcome the fear and the anxiety that I have and just keep going. And that's what I do. I don't want people to think that I'm this guy that's successful because I don't have fear. Of course, I think a lot of people have
Everybody has fear.
Hesitation and fears to do stuff. But when I make a decision to do something, I just do it.
Yes, that's the one thing about him I will say is like I admire the most is his term. Like he does say no matter, and it's like he stays the course. Yeah. Like no matter what, you're not getting, Ian, what about, no, we're not doing that because I'm doing this right now. And I don't have that ability whatsoever. Right. I mean, I'm fluid, but he's going, I'm training for this bodybuilding competition. Okay, well, when are you going to be home? I don't know, but I'm going to train for this bodybuilding competition. Done. Yeah, right. He's like, but that's just him. But that determination is what helps him achieve his goals and have, and be able to have the accomplishments. I mean, he he did that bodybuilding thing, and we almost broke up and everything over it. But
divorce.
But
that's right.
But he stuck to it, and he saw the fruits of his labor. I mean, because after only his second competition, he won first place. After he did the first one, he's like, next one, I'm gonna win, and I was like, okay, you say so. I mean,
that was a goal, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. Once I have a goal in my head, like a goal, and I'm focused on it, then I get that goal. Like there's no not getting the goal. That's why I'm telling you, I'm that person that when I put a goal in my head, let's say I put a goal. I want to be
like even this podcast. Oh my gosh!
Why are you shaking your head like that? That's the worst thing ever.
No, but the podcast was too because you were like, I'm going to do a podcast. And I'm like,
Rita.
Well, I said, no, but hold on. Yeah, I'm not saying anything bad. It's not bad. I'm just saying, he said, I'm doing a podcast. And I'm like, you don't even know how to do a podcast. I don't care. I'm going to do one. I'm going to learn. And I'm like, well, so-and-so, I have a friend whose husband does podcasts. I'm like, well, talk to so-and-so. And he went and talked to him, got all the stuff. All of a sudden, I see packages coming every minute to the house. And
that's awesome.
And everything. And all of this is Ian. I just show up and I just talk, You
hear that?
But he has,
say it again.
I just show up and talk.
That's
Ian
right.
does everything. He does everything. But he accomplished all of this. And sometimes I'm like, Ian, the kids are hungry. I got to finish this podcast stuff. And I'm like, well, we need this, but that focus is necessary to meet a goal. And you can't do it all. But I always have that hard time with, the kids need me. The things need, but he can just shut that off and stick to what he knows he needs to do to get his goal. So, I mean, it's not a bad thing.
No, I understand what you're saying. That's just me. That's just how I'm inherently built, A lot of people I meet, over the years, they're not like that. They hesitate.
Right.
They'll argue about something. I don't like this. I don't like this. I wish I could change. I'm like, well, you can change. And I tell them, you can change. What do you mean? I'm like, you can make a choice. You can look for another job. You can do anything you want to do. You don't have to stay here and remain in your current situation. Like you have this choice to get up and change your life,
That is hard for
people to see. But the majority of people cannot do it.
Yeah. Because it's fear.
It's a fear, and it's literally a fear. Like,
is it only fear? I mean,
what is it? Yeah.
A lot of it is fear. Sometimes it's fear
of what?
Fear of failure, fear of success. People are actually afraid to succeed.
It's a great Rita. That's Natalie, 190%.
Oh wow!
I'm giving you the side eye right now.
No.
She totally side eye.
Oh, listen, she's brilliant, right? She's always had thoughts over the years. Now she's doing this thing, and I said, Natalie, why is it? What are you afraid of? She's like, I don't know. Blah blah blah. I'm like, Natalie, I said, I think you're afraid of being successful because she's brilliant with her. She has these great ideas. I'm like, yeah, that's good.
Right.
And then she just, as it starts going, she goes, and just kind of backs off. Now, this has been a thing over the last years. Okay. This is not like happened once. This happened multiple times. And I'm like, Natalie, I was like, you can do it. Like, I argue and complain, but I have to literally work to do these things. She just has them, and all she has to do is just fall. If she falls through with any of her ideas, they'll work.
Right.
But she'll
knock it out of the park.
But what she does, she'll start and go. And I'm like, and Natalie, what happened to that idea of so and so? Well,
Well, Natalie, do you like your why? Why you're even doing any of these other things?
I don't even know.
So maybe that's something you need to take some time and look at.
Maybe you need a coach.
That will take you to the next level if you like your why and you're committed to it. And then once you have it, put it on a sticky and put it somewhere you'll see it every day. And let's see how that works.
I've discovered my why. I think I've discovered my why.
Okay.
It's about helping people and helping others. I guess get past their own whys and fears and that kind of stuff. That's my thing.
Okay.
Help people make changes in their life, positive changes.
So going back to what you were saying, Ian, about you being dedicated and focused and all of those things.
Yes.
So many people, if you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right.
Yes.
So it's either or.
Yes.
So when they have the fear, right, it's crippling.
Yes. I've seen it in people my whole working career.
Right.
It's a thing, and I can't even describe it. When you talk to them, it's almost like you open their eyes and realize you have a choice. Like, you don't have to sit there. The fear is worse than what's actually happening to them.
Right.
It's the thought but it's not really happening, but they think these things are going to happen, but it's not actually real.
Right.
It's their mind. And so it cripples them to do anything. They just stay there. I'm safe here. in my space, in my situation, I'm not doing anything.
That's the primitive brain holding you back.
Yeah.
Because I want to stay safe. I don't want to go outside of my comfort zone.
Every person that every job I've ever met, the majority of people, they argue about it. And when I talk to them, I say, why don't you just leave? No one leaves. Everyone's scared. And then